I just took my square tube here, you guys, and I just traced around it because I know each one of these corners, oh boy, you can't see that, there it is. Each one of these corners is going to be notched out so that tube can go through there. And that's where my rail is going to come up through. I'm building the rail that's going to be on this side going up. I literally, you guys know I squared the bottom frame up, so I literally use that frame because I know my rails are going to be that wide, and I use that as my jig to square this up, and then I checked it with the tape measure to make sure everything was right. So as you can see, this is what I was telling you, my upper rail is going to be open right here. My rail's coming into it. I got my center rail coming across here. This kind of blends together because all the metal's the same color, you guys. This is my extension out 16 inches. So I made this 3 foot to here, and then I made this 17 because my tube is going to come off the top of this one, going this way. And it's going to be like 6 or 8 inches, I think. To hold that material, this is going to be like the platform on the back. But I set this on here, you guys, and I used my lower frame to square this up, and I've just tacked this thing now. And then I pulled corner from there to from here to the inside of this one. Same here, from that corner to the inside of this joint. You can't really, like if I drew a line up, I could measure the outside, but I just used the inside because it was there. Now I got this thing squared up, so literally when I pick this thing up, it's going to drop right into these 2 slots right here. And then I'm going to be able to weld the top and bottom. This will be my side piece. I'm going to build one more for over there. I didn't show you guys this. My GoPro was having issues, but I cut all my expanded metal. I cut this to length. Width-wise, this is what I cut off, you guys. That's the excess. This thing's only 3 foot wide. This is 4 foot expanded metal. So I'm down to 3 foot now. So it'll be 1, 2. I'm going to have to cut the ends off somewhere. This will probably be, there's not a center support here, you guys, so it's going to be a little offset. So I think this is 16 inches in between here, something 16 and a quarter, something like that. So I'll have one here, my other sheet will match to here. So it'll be kind of offset. There'll be a long sheet, and then this will be a little bit shorter, just to make sure I hit that end right on here. I'm still contemplating putting some 1-inch tube in between here. We'll see how much of this I have left because it's just a little spongy to me. It's not horrible, you guys. Like I'm almost 200 pounds, almost. And like I stand on it and I can feel it just a little bit, but it's not bad. So we'll see. Like to me, I would walk on this thing all day long. I just want to make sure it's safe enough and the customer's happy with what it is. I may come back and put more supports in between it going this way, or maybe one going this way to make that space a little smaller. We'll see where. Here we go. So now you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So center bar, upper bar, this will be our shelf. I'm going to make a triangle coming back this way to support that load. My corners are notched out. Now you guys can see why I notched the corners. My tube's going in there. Tube's going in there. So now I'll be able to weld this, here and here. Now it's going to be structurally strong. And it was super easy. It was way easier to notch that corner than it was trying to notch all these tubes if this C-channel was flipped the other way. A lot of people probably would like to see the flat outside. I don't want to because it's so much easier and it's going to cost my customers so much less money for me doing it this way, and it's stronger, literally, you guys, to me. It's stronger, faster, and cheaper for him. That's kind of why I did it, but now you kind of see. I'm gonna get my other side made over there, you guys. I'm gonna have to cut a piece here too. We're gonna do this at the very end. I'm gonna get that side made, get this back made. What I might do is just clamp these in place here, because I can put a clamp right here. Might just clamp these on both sides, and I'll level them. Wow, sorry guys. I'll level it this way, and then I'll build my back piece, and I may weld all these together and set them on the ground next to this thing. I'll flip this over. When our fork pockets show up, we'll weld those on, flip this, grate it, drop our railing on as one piece from here all the way around. Yeah, it's coming together, you guys, like pretty quick, pretty easy. I'm liking the way it's turning out. We'll get this side done and we'll work on this back. I got these two sides together. I got them just grabbed. He's literally holding them up there. I had a little bit of tension down here in the corners. So I got that side, this side done. We're gonna start working on this back. And you can see this is our 16-inch overhang. We have a 1-inch pipe coming up this way. So they can settle their material up here. We're gonna have these coming all the way. Once I get this back in, there'll be multiples of these. Then there'll be a tube running from here all the way to there. Same with right here, all the way to right there. So this is gonna create a shelf. Then we'll have some little, essentially extensions coming up this way, so their material can't slide off this way, but they can load it on there. They'll be able to do all their cutting, everything right here. Go from cutting right to siding, cutting, siding. Yeah, it's turning out pretty good. He should be pretty happy with this. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. It's gonna really save him, because literally he's had a couple pallets with some sheeting on it, nailed down, and that's what they've been using to side a house. So once he gets this is gonna make his life a lot easier and a lot better, and his employees are gonna be a lot safer. So yeah, I think he's pretty excited to get this and get to using it. We got another project for him right after this, you guys. It's gonna be a doozy. Yeah. Keep watching. You guys will see what the next one is. We'll see if he goes through with it. I'm a little hesitant to build it, but he wants it done. He needs it because he's renting it like every time. So keep watching. You guys will see it down the road, the next project, but we're gonna get this one done. I'm whittling away at this. I'm trying to get this upper section done. You can see I notched my side. Got my upright in. Same here. Then we come to this one. I may or may not have mismeasured. Yeah, that should have been there, you guys. I was doing some marking, measuring out, trying to figure out where I wanted these at. And I put a mark right here in the center of this tube, which, as you can see over here, I put a mark in the center of this tube. I was gonna put the upright there. I wanted this more even, so I measured it, divided, and I put my arrow right there where it should have been. But I had my mark there. I notched it right there, you guys. I screwed up. This is the great thing about metal. Metal can be put back into the same place it was at. So these are a couple of them that I cut out from corners or wherever. I'm literally gonna weld this back in here, you guys, because I screwed up. You know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna cut this one out and see how well it fits there. We'll weld it in, we'll grind it smooth, weld it from this side and grind it smooth too. But yeah, you guys, look, everybody messes up, but literally, like, I'm not gonna throw away $100 worth of material for that little scab. I'm gonna scab it back in there, we're gonna clean it up. And I want to say the customer's never going to know, but he's probably going to watch this, and you know what? He's a contractor. He knows that people mess up, so we're going to fix this. We're going to make it like new again. Sorry, Scott. I mismeasured. We're going to fix it. We're going to make it just as good as new. We're going to move the tube back over here where it's supposed to be, so you guys can see how far I've made it. We got these uprights in. That one, that one, that one. Fixed my boo-boo. Measured wrong again. Messed up. Fixed my boo-boo. I'm gonna come back, grind this off. We'll deal with this later. You guys, I literally cut that wrong, cut it wrong here. Tack this tube in right here, was off. Yeah. I'm struggling measuring tonight, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. It's like my blonde hair is coming out tonight. I can't measure anything to save my life. But we are getting there. Now you guys can kind of see what's happening here. So these are the back rails. Side rails are in. This will be the platform up here, you guys. We're gonna have a little we're gonna have something like that. But it's gonna be, I think, like 6 or 8 inches tall. And we're gonna have multiples of these. So they'll be like all the way down here, ding, 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 all the way to here. Another upright. So they can lay all their material up here, you guys. They'll put all their siding up here. Portions of their siding up here. We got to make some angles coming back down here to support this weight. But they'll be able to put their siding up, cut it, and they'll be able to go from right here onto the house. Right here onto the house. We're going to put a chain across the front of this. We'll have a safety chain off the back. We're helping them, trying to be a little more OSHA compliant, you guys. So I pulled I left this up here. I welded everything together. I pulled it off and flipped it over because I had to cut these angles, you guys, on all these to match right here. I-beam or C-channel kind of has this angle on it. So I had to cut those angles on all the bottoms. It also allowed me to get to some of these that were overhead welding that I missed when I was sitting up here. So I got those welded out too. Got that cut. I did get these notched, you guys, right in the corners. I got everything cut to length so it lays up there really nicely. Before I pulled them off, you can see I marked that with purple and that with blue. I also did the same thing on here so I know which one goes where, because this one's actually longer. That one's shorter coming back this way. But they hit that beam right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th beam in, 4th one from that side. So it hits right there. I did line these up too, you guys. So expanded metal kind of has one direction it goes. If you flip this over, it's going the opposite direction. So these two panels, I made them line up so that this edge on this one lines up with the front edge on this one. So when you put it in there, the pattern keeps going so it all looks like one piece. Just little things. Sometimes I do like that just to make sure that the product looks even better. So yeah, right here where these two panels line up together, that pattern of those kind of diamonds, they line up even though they're cut in the middle from one panel to the other. So it blends that seam a lot easier, so hopefully you won't see it as bad. But right now, I got this thing rigged up. I'm gonna flip it again. Because you guys saw last night, I cut this right here in the wrong spot. So I welded that piece in, ground it smooth. I did it twice. I actually screwed this up too, so I had to put a little piece in there. So I gotta flip this and weld this from the backside and then grind it smooth. It's just a little, yeah, that little piece right there and this one right here. I'm just gonna weld that out, grind it back smooth. And then I'm literally gonna wait for my forklift tubes, guys. I think I'm pretty much as done as far as I can go because I don't wanna try to flip this with that on it. It's gonna be a real pain. I might flip this over and do the uprights off the end of this. But like I said, I wanna get this flipped over, get that fixed, and then I'll leave it upside down so I can mount all my forklift tubes. Flip it back over, set this on it, weld it out, put the grading on, weld it out, and we'll be calling this thing a wrap. But for right now, I'm gonna try to flip this thing. We're gonna see. This is a little sketchy flipping this, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. So I think I'm pretty much done with this for now, you guys. I'm waiting for my forklift tubes. I'm gonna leave it here so I can get my forklift tubes mounted to the bottom. Then I'll roll it and I'll put everything else back on it and weld it up. I have stuff moved all over the place, you guys. My piece of tube came, this is 7x3 quarter wall. These are the forklift tubes that are gonna go on the bottom of this base. And those rails are going on top of that base. Then that grading over there, you can't see it, it's down there, but that's part of it, is going on top of this. So we're getting closer here, you guys. But I had to move everything. You saw I had it all set up here before. I had to move it all, the guy, because this piece of metal right here alone, that's 320 pounds. So I pushed all this stuff over here against my stove as far forward as I could. Then he backed his truck in. We used the winch cable up there off the Jeep, lifted it off, and I set it on these sawhorses. I'm getting ready to cut the first. I'm going to cut these two. Whatever's left over will be our in pockets. I'll divide it evenly, and that'll be our in pockets, because there'll be a pocket going here, here, two in the middle coming across this way, and then two on this end going this way. You guys know that I built this extra little thing out here so that they could put all their material on here. So literally that forklift, this is only 3 foot wide. This base is only as wide as this right here. This is another 16 inches. So I'm gonna make those forklift tubes that come across the middle go from the front of this rail all the way out to here. So when they slide this on their forklift, they don't run into this. The forklift tubes stop it so they don't end up banging up this part of the basket. Shoot, I gotta go buy chain too. We're gonna run a chain across the front of this once I get everything together. I'm gonna try to avoid painting this thing. I don't really want to paint it. It's just a lot of spray paint, and I don't really have a paint booth. Spraying something like that in my shop it's just gonna make a flippin' mess everywhere. So I'm hoping that he's got people that are professional painters that can paint this thing for him. So I'm probably gonna try to talk about having me paint it, because I'm just gonna rattle can it. It's not gonna look as good as those guys that actually have spray guns. So like I said, the guy that got me in contact with him in TS, he used to be a painter, so I'm sure this would be nothing for him to paint. So that's what we're working on, you guys. So I got my first one laid out right here. This thing's super heavy. I wanted to put it over here and try to cut it on my chop saw. I don't want to move it. So we're gonna use the plas. I'm gonna set up some straight edges so I can get a nice, clean, good cut. Not gonna eyeball it and grind it. I'm gonna try to get it. I'm still gonna have to probably grind it, but we're gonna set up a jig here so that I can run my plas down it. We're gonna cut it with the plas. Maybe if I get it a little bit smaller, get these first two chunks off of here to do these ones, maybe I can actually lift it and put it in my saw. But it is 8 inches wide, so I don't know if that'll get across it. We'll see. Sorry, 7 inches wide, not 8 inches wide. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna work on, you guys. I'm gonna try to get this jig set up and cut. So now you guys can kind of see it's going to go. Yeah, so essentially this is the base. It'll be welded to there, and this will extend out to the back of that rack so that it has when the forklift comes down, it hits this and not the back of the rack. So kind of what we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep cutting these. I'm gonna get the next one done here. Then we'll try to figure out how long these end ones need to be with the amount of material we have left. This one piece of material was super expensive. So we're gonna make do with what we got. We're gonna be a little shy of this dimension on the ends, but it shouldn't matter. He's mainly picking it up this way most of the time. So we'll get these laid out and get them cut. Ground all these smooth, cleaned everything up inside and out. I set these on here. I called him to find out how wide his forklift goes. Because when they're on this thing, I want this thing as wide as possible in their forks so that it's stable, so it's not doing this number on them. His forklifts are literally 6x2, so this is 2.5 by 6 3/4, I think. So it's going to be pretty tight on his forklift, so which is good because then it won't wiggle around and stuff. But he told me to make these outsides 5 foot 10 inches. So that's what I did. It's 70 inches across there. So I don't have a whole lot hanging out this way. But now you guys can see how much shorter these stake pockets are. The good thing is when he puts his forklift through here, he should still be able to catch this side rail as he lifts it. So it'll be through there and actually touching here. This will give him a stop to run his forks into if he ever picks it up from this end or this end. We put them in there just because he wanted them in there, but most of the time it's going to be using these ones here. So I'm working on getting these ones set up where I want. Oh, what I did want to show you guys too is I left a little, about a 1/4 inch right here, you guys, so I could put my weld in there. Same with right here. It's just a 1/4 inch back, so there's an awesome spot to put a weld. I welded it on both sides also. Over there, when I flip this thing over, I'm going to weld this backside too. This is where all the stress is at, is in those tubes, you guys. I don't want them coming off, so I'm going to put as much weld as I can on them. Make sure they're welded all the way around to try to make this thing as safe as possible. You guys know I'm a little nervous about making this thing because it is going to be lifting people and material. It just makes me nervous. But yeah, so now I'm working on these two. So this thing is 3 foot wide. I'm working on tacking these in place. I did the same thing. I left a little 1/4 inch here. Then I actually, the thickness of this tube is 1/4 inch. So I put the inside of that in line with the edge of my base. Yeah, so I lined this up here. So that gives me a little shelf right here. Cause these, you guys can see this has like a 1/2 inch radius. It'll give me somewhere to weld the outside to. I'm probably not gonna weld this thing all the way. That's a lot of weld, you guys, all the way down here. That's about 3 foot of weld. So I'll probably stitch weld it, you know, 6 inches, 6 inches, something like that, and I'll kind of skip around. Same with on the inside, I'll weld it here and some down in there. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting right now. We got this side to do, and then we're gonna see if this winch cable will lift this. This thing's getting heavy now. Yeah, it's a lot of weight. He did call me and asked me today if I had a forklift to lift this onto his trailer. I was like, no. So he said if I get it done today, he has a bunch of employees that he can bring down and we can lift it onto his trailer. So I'm trying not to rush it because I want it to look really good, but I am trying to rush so that I can get help lifting this, because I am afraid my rafter is not going to hold this weight, because it's a lot. I honestly think this is probably heavier than my flatbed now, and my flatbed made that thing groan and moan. So we'll see when I roll this section over what it's like when I lift, because I got to roll this, you guys, back over to add the rails and the grating and weld the back sides all these tubes. So we'll see. That's another 300 pounds I just added to this thing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. We'll see what that rafter does. I'm gonna lift one side of it just straight up, see what it does, see how creaky bouncy that is. I really shouldn't be doing this, but it's what I gotta do right now. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe this isn't as heavy as that flatbed. I don't know. It's the same stuff, except for this. That's another 300 pounds. I got to kind of go look to see. Yeah, because I lifted that whole flatbed with this. And that's all 4-inch channel. And this is 3-inch channel. I don't know. Maybe it's close. That headache rack, the wood. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's pretty close. We'll see. We're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna go slow. If I hear that thing making too much noise up there, we're gonna stop and I'll call some people to come help me flip it over. Hopefully. Might not be today if I gotta do that, because we're all sick, so I don't want to make anyone else sick. All right, you guys, we're gonna attempt to flip this thing. I got everything welded on the bottom. I need to flip it to weld the top. We're gonna see how much this winch hates this. I gotta slide it over a little though. Not so much winch, but my rafter. I'm afraid my rafter's gonna fail. It's a lot of weight, you guys. Sketchy. Things heavy, guys. Real heavy. You're gonna have to go in your own wall. This works really sketchy. I mean, the good thing is, you guys, I'm here alone. Nobody knows I'm doing this, so. Still too sketchy, guys. Don't do that, you know. Hey, that's it. All the way up. Yeah, this ain't heavy. Whew. I'm glad that went all right. I was a little worried. That was a lot of weight for my little single rafter up there. So I'm eventually gonna probably have to build a crane in here, you guys. I keep getting bigger and bigger projects where I'm flipping stuff or lifting stuff off trailers. The big black Jeep's doing its job. It's lifting everything I need so far, save my back. But I'm gonna have to eventually do something about this, because that rafter eventually someday is not gonna like me and it's gonna say, nope, ain't doing it, Chad. I'm dropping this thing. I've got a good majority of the outside of this welded out. You guys can see I've been laying some dimes today. It's pretty good welds all the way across. We got all these tubes in all the way around the outside. So now I'm working on the inside. So what I did here, you guys, they do this a lot in like structural welding. So it's called stitch welding. So you weld a little bit here, skip some, weld some, skip some, weld some. It keeps the distortion down. And like I said, I believe what they do this mainly in structural welding. What I've done on the inside now is I've laid this out where I'm going to weld 1 inch. So this is my gap right here. So you can see here's the end of my weld, the start of my weld. If you trace it up and around, you can see there's the gap on the other side. So I'm gonna weld in between there. So essentially I welded here, left a gap. On the inside, I'm gonna not weld here, and then I'm gonna weld on the inside over here. So it's gonna be here, 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 all the way through. The only thing I did do is I did add 2 inches here at the end of the tube, because I don't want the end of the tube to tear out. Same with at this corner. I'd put an inch of weld here also, because this actually goes all the way out. I just wanted to make sure that those corners were good and strong. You can see I've laid it out. I've already welded my inch there, got my gap. Where I'm not gonna weld, here's my weld. I always mark an X where I'm gonna weld. No weld, weld, no weld. I'm gonna add 2 inches here so the tube doesn't tear out. I've done the same thing on the other side also. You can see I got the exact same thing going on here and here. If you guys are doing this and you want this kind of stitch pattern, what I suggest, put in a really strong tack at each one of your marks. So you can, as you're welding, you go to your tack, so you know where to stop. Without that, it's pretty hard to see whether you use a white marker. Like this is a silver Sharpie. It's hard to see when you're welding. So I just put a tack at each end. So as I'm welding, I'm like, oh, there's my tack. It's really easy to see the tack, and you stop. Start again, tack, stop. So that's kind of what I'm working towards. We're gonna get these done. I'm gonna try to lift this, put it on the ground, because I don't think I can, my rafter will support the extra, I don't know, maybe 40 pounds of that. No, it's gotta be more than that. I don't know, when I flipped this thing, it was, you could definitely tell it was hurting it. I just don't want to collapse my building, you guys. Like, I'm out on a limb doing it this way, but you guys know this is what I got. I gotta get this done. So, all right, you guys. So I got this thing on the floor. I got my rails up on there. They fought me a little bit. I was gonna karate kick them. I don't know. They were pissing me off. Finally got them in there though. It was just because they were so awkward, you guys. Like trying to pick them with my winch. Everything was wanting to tilt that way. I restrung this multiple times trying to level it up. It was just kicking my ass. I'm not even gonna lie. But I did get it in there. So now you guys can see my forklift tubes are level with the back of this. They're actually just a little bit past this. So you can't hit this when they run their basket in. Hitting this, they're gonna bottom out on their forks first before they hit this. I sent him some pictures. He does want a rail across top of here, which I was planning for. I have it in the thing. I just didn't put it on there because originally he said he didn't want a top rail. He just wanted pegs. So I ordered it anyways, thinking that he was gonna want it because I would have wanted it. So, which is good. So I have the metal down there. We'll get the rail put across there. We'll get this tacked in place, welded out. It's a whole lot of welds. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Just because every single freaking rail has to be welded all the way around the base. I got this thing tipped up. I told you guys I wasn't 100% sure that I liked this gap right here. Between here, this decking felt spongy. I actually over-ordered and got 1 extra stick of this. And I did add this one up here, you guys. I was originally planning this, but he said he wanted just little pucks sticking up. He saw it yesterday and he was like, on a picture, and he's like, oh, I want a rail across there. I was like, all right, I can do that. I ordered for it knowing that he might want it. But I actually did over order by 1 piece, which I'm glad I did because I had enough to put 1-inch bars in between here. It makes this just a lot more stable, you guys, when you're walking on this decking. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I've been like crawling under this thing in kind of odd positions, and yeah, it's just been weird. Because I literally had this laying on the ground, but I had to get all these welds up under here, you guys, on the bottom of those 1-inch bars. I almost didn't weld them because I didn't have a way to get this up. Literally, this is everything my Jeep has to try to pull this up right now. In this scenario, like I can get it up that high this way. It won't lift the other side. It binds up the winch, and it's just not, I'm sure there's other ways around this, you guys. It's just not working real great. So I literally got it tipped up like this, and I'm overhead welding all of these. I just tipped this one up. I had it tipped up this way originally, welded all these lower 1-inch bars. Now I tipped it up this way, and I'm overhead welding all these, which is fun because I can barely fit under this thing, and it's sketchy because this thing weighs 888 pounds, you guys. It's not a light platform. But this is what he wanted. I'm just building to his kind of specifications, you know. He wanted stake pockets this big. That's the only size material they make like that. So it is what it is. But I do got this propped up here, and I put my sawhorses here just for added, makes me feel better, I guess, knowing that weight's sitting on there, but I still have my strap. So if my sawhorses fail, hopefully the strap will keep me from dying, or vice versa. If the strap fails, these will keep me from dying. But yeah, I'm totally laying under this thing, you guys. And I got most of these done. I got a few left. We're gonna try to get in here and get them knocked out. If you guys are overhead welding, if you don't want the splatter falling back on you, crank your wire speed up like just a little bit. The more wire speed will actually help it stick and not splatter down on you. You guys hear my Jeep whining? Yeah, it's not liking this, and my battery might be dying too. That might be part of it. Yeah, I might have to put a charger on that thing. I just went through and on these bigger tubes, these 2x3s, I tacked it on the outsides, cut it in half, cut that in half, cut that in half. I just kind of divided it up. I didn't measure anything. This middle, you can see I welded all of them just because it's just split in the two sheets. But yeah, that's done. That's good and awesome. Now, oh boy, I am so glad I put the other pieces in. It feels way better. And it's not too rattly, so that's good. Yeah, we're gonna run to town and buy some chain. We'll get that on here and show you guys how I'm gonna hook that up. And I'm probably gonna have to do something around the back of one of the forklift pockets maybe, or maybe I'll put it, yeah, probably off the forklift pocket. Excuse me. Yeah, I like it, it looks good. This should really give them what they need. I ran down, I got some chain. We got this thing kind of licked. I left this long for them so they can adjust it whatever height they want, but literally all I did was I just welded the chain to here, ran it across, I cut my one loop off my chain here, welded a loop on there, and then it just unscrews here. They can take it off if they so choose to. They may put a different clasp or something on there. That's just what I could find. Yeah, so that'll kind of keep them in there. They may tighten it up a little bit. It is sagging just a little, kind of just droops. Whatever, it is what it is. And then I just put this on here, same concept. This will allow them to attach this to their basket so that they don't drop this basket off their forklift. So yeah, I think we're done, you guys. We're gonna call this thing a wrap. And I'll get back with you guys on the next one. I think we're headed to the beep after this.